Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. Both sides. Yeah. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
Huh? The good news is Mr. Trump was on message, reminding people of his substantive, successful policies. In other words, full of insights, not insults. A good day's work, wouldn't you say, folks?
What?
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor.
Donald Trump's campaign is struggling so badly right now that he crawled all the way back to Twitter to slur his way through a disastrous interview with Elon Musk.
The biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise one-eighth of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming.
Even if you ignore Trump's slurring, the guy made no sense whatsoever throughout this whole interview. Now, according to Trump, this was going to be the interview of the century. However, it went as poorly as a Tesla or a SpaceX rocket, exploding spectacularly and bursting into flames. And of course, MAGA went into full-blown panic mode, claiming that the deep state was trying to silence the right-wing network. Spoiler alert, it wasn't.
Yeah, Sean, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. There are a lot of people out there, and there's a massive effort, of course, to keep Donald Trump out of the White House. These people are terrified. This is the deep state. This is the swamp in Washington, D.C. These are the people who are our adversaries in many cases, and they know that the jig is up, the game is over when Donald J. Trump returns to the White House, and they're petrified of it. They have had a free pass for 3.5 years. The people who want to do nefarious activities to us here in America, to our allies around the world, they've gotten a free pass and a free ride, and they would like another 4 years of that with Kamala Harris at the helm. Donald Trump is the only person who can deliver this country back to we the people, the only person who can make sure that the world is stabilized once again. And there are, I assume, Sean, a lot of people out there who don't want to see that happen for really awful reasons, quite frankly.
So as we dig in, I just want to send a personal thank you to Trump's senior advisor, Chris LaCivita, because without LaCivita, we would not have had gems like Donald Trump being interviewed by fart chair sniffer Aiden Ross, Trump's unhinged Mar-a-Lago presser, or his latest glitchy, boring, and awkward Twitter Spaces interview with Elon Musk. LaCivita and Trump's team are doing a killer job at running the Trump-Vance campaign into the ground. Actually, we have live footage of the Trump campaign right now.
Get out of the way, please! It's burning!
And based on how the Trump campaign is now crashing and burning, I wouldn't be surprised if LaCivita's days are numbered. And now, LaCivita and MAGA are desperately trying to spin this epic fail as Trump broke the internet. Nope, Trump definitely did not break the internet, and I'll explain why in a moment, but good try, buddy. Just to give you an idea of what their thought-provoking, internet-breaking interview was like, here's a sample.
And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way.
No way.
Way.
No way. Way. No way.
Way.
No way. Way. No way. Yes, way.
That conversation with Putin never happened, or maybe it did during that private meeting the two had at G20 without a note-taker. Regardless, shady stuff. Now, for context, my background is in tech, so when I saw Elon try to blame a massive DDoS attack for his catastrophic Twitter disaster, I laughed because I knew Elon was lying. For those who don't know, a DDoS, or Distributed Denial of Service attack, is a cyber attack that involves flooding a server with internet traffic to prevent users from accessing connected online services and sites. Think of it like a traffic jam on a highway, or multiple people trying to call into one phone line. No one can get through. Elon then tweeted, "We tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today."
Sure, Jan.
If there was an attack like Elon claimed, it would affect Twitter as a whole, not just one specific user or one specific Twitter space hosted by one user. Like I said when it crashed, this was not a DDoS attack. MAGA is gullible and Elon is lying. So to put it simply, Elon's excuse is complete
bullshit.
And Trump was not happy, posting on Truth Social, but not Twitter. I spent 2.5 hours last night talking to Elon, a fantastic guy, getting all-time record views/hits, and all the fake news wants to report is that the servers crashed because of the tremendous volume, and the show opened a little late. What they should be reporting was the incredible number of people that were listening. What? According to a source at Twitter, the conversation with Musk and Trump Trump didn't even match the normal morning traffic on Twitter. It was a 10% bump over the normal afternoon or evening traffic. Also, the fact that Trump is now saying that Elon is a fantastic guy is totally on brand for the con man when you remember their past.
It was just a couple of years ago that Trump and Musk were on the outs. Musk tweeting, quote, "It's time for Trump to hang up his hat and sail into the sunset." Trump saying this about Musk.
Elon is not going to buy Twitter. Nah, he's got himself a mess. You know, he said the other day, "Oh, I've never voted for a Republican." I said, "I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me." So he's another artist, but he's not going to be buying it.
But just after the assassination attempt against Trump, Musk endorsed the former president, and Trump now has a different tune.
I respect Elon a lot. He respects me.
And Musk is backing up his endorsement with cash, though the figures have been in dispute.
So for those who did try to listen to their interview, they were met with 45 minutes of silence, awkward shuffles, weird music, and even more silence. Most people couldn't even get into the space and were shown a monkey emoji with the text, "This space is not available." As I accurately predicted when the interview was announced, it was destined to be a failure of epic proportions. And as I mentioned in my tweet, this interview would play right into comedy's rule of 3. I swear, Elon Musk has the Satan touch when it comes to politics. RFK Jr. was an incoherent mess, and Ron DeSantis was a massive failure to launch. It was filled with awkward silences, echoes, glitches, just all around painful to listen to. Sound familiar? At the time, even Donald Trump chimed in from his Twitter knockoff Truth Social by saying, "Wow, the DeSantis Twitter launch is a disaster. His whole campaign will be a disaster. Watch." Considering how poorly Trump's own Twitter event went, I'm sure that Ron DeSantis is having a good old-fashioned awkward laugh. And at the time when Ron DeSantis' Twitter announcement flopped, he tried to play it off as he broke the internet.
I'm running for president of the United States to lead our great American comeback. We announced that on Twitter Spaces earlier tonight, and it broke the internet because so many people were excited about being on that Twitter space.
And just like Donald Trump, DeSantis did not break the internet. It was Twitter that crashed because on December 23rd, 2022, Elon showed up at Twitter's data center, ripping out servers and cutting cables like a maniac without knowing which part of Twitter's infrastructure he was killing. Elon's insanely moronic move destabilized Twitter for months, causing major meltdowns, including the Twitter space that Elon hosted with Ron DeSantis. Elon had almost a year and a half to fix it for the Trump Twitter space, and guess what? He didn't. He is just like Donald Trump, a dumb and insecure brat with a short temper. You could cut through the awkwardness of this interview with a knife, or better yet, a shaving razor. And speaking of razors, I want to thank today's sponsor, Henson Shaving. For too long, the shaving industry has been focused on the wrong things. More blades, fancy lubricating strips, expensive subscriptions, but has any of it really made shaving better? Henson Shaving doesn't think so, and they're out to prove it. They've gone back to the basics, but with the high-tech twist. Their razors are designed to give you more control, reducing irritation and giving you a healthier shave. And they're built to last. No more disposable plastic razors clogging up our landfills. With Henson, you're not just changing how you shave, you're part of a movement to change the entire industry. It's time to say no to subscriptions and yes to a razor that'll last you a lifetime. Visit HensonShaving.com/Gabe to pick the razor for you and use code Gabe and you'll get 2 years worth of blades free with your razor. Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to HensonShaving.com/Gabe and use code Gabe. Elon is also the worst person imaginable to conduct an interview. I mean, this is what he sounded like.
You want.
So when Trump and Elon decided to have an interview over Twitter Spaces, I knew something bad was waiting for these two morons on the horizon.
At one point, Trump decided to weigh in on this. Time Magazine's recent feature, and specifically the cover artwork that pictured his opponent, Kamala Harris.
She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing. And actually, she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman. So we'll leave it at that, right?
Okay, that's another pronunciation of her name, Camilla. Guys, what, like... What?
I told you, this interview was a mess. It was not only unhinged, but also weird. You've got one creepy guy known for spreading conspiracies and misinformation interviewing the other creepy guy known for spreading conspiracies and misinformation. What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, look, I'm afraid to try to psychoanalyze what Donald Trump is doing here. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I think it does kind of seem like he was trying to say it was like an overly flattering drawing of her. I don't know, but one thing it is not going to do is help him win suburban voters, swing voters. I mean, to Brad's point here, there are only so many days left in this election, and he's spending them, sort of rambling nonsense rather than making a case.
Trump struggled to find his footing throughout this interview. And with Musk and Trump talking about Harris's appearance on the cover of Time magazine, it reveals how little Trump has when it comes to policies.
This Cutter, I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it.
Firing people and being anti-union is not the flex they think it is, and it certainly does not resonate with voters. It's simple. Elon Musk and Donald Trump are scabs.
2019, GM was on strike for 40 days. Donald Trump was nowhere to be found. Didn't say nothing, do nothing. Now let's look at Kamala Harris. 2019, you want to know where she was when GM was on strike for 40 days? She was on the picket line standing there with them.
Donald Trump is a scam!
I saw our friend Sean Fain at the UAW had a name for that. He called him a scab, just to be clear. That's not name calling, it's an observation and fact, just to be clear.
Oh, and I almost forgot. Another reason that Trump's Twitter space ended up crashing the way it did is because Elon laid off 80% of the company. He even bragged about it to Tucker Carlson.
So how do you run the company with only 20% of the staff?
Turns out you don't need all that many people to run Twitter.
But 80%? That's a lot.
Yes. If you're not trying to run some sort of glorified activist organization and you're not care that much about censorship, then you can really let go of a lot of people, it turns out. And it's clearly working. In fact, I think it's working better than ever.
Boy, did that backfire on him. This boring interview went on for over 2.5 hours, and by the end of it, I felt like I was watching Titanic. Sorry, wrong clip, but that is a good visual of how it went. I meant that I felt like Rose in Titanic.
It's been 84 years.
But the Harris Walls campaign said it best. Donald Trump's extremism and dangerous Project 2025 agenda is a feature, not a glitch, of his campaign, which was on full display for those unlucky enough to listen in tonight during whatever that was on X.com. Trump's entire campaign is in service of people like Elon Musk and himself, self-obsessed rich guys who will sell out the middle class and who cannot run a live stream in the year 2024. Well, that's all for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and feel free to follow me at I Am Gabe Sanchez. What Was That is made possible by viewers like you, and if you'd like to support the show and help us grow, you can contribute to my Patreon at patreon.com/IamGabeSanchez. Thank you for your support. So until next episode, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?